Caps win 2-1 over the Boston Bruins. And whew, that is officially, in my book, the closest game for the Caps this season. That was almost at times not fun to watch, but at the end of the day, really fun to watch. I've said it many times before, maybe not on this channel, but to friends and family in the past. I am a hockey fan first, and then I'm a Caps fan. And as a hockey fan, there is nothing greater that I would love to watch than a great hockey game between two great hockey clubs. And that is exactly what we saw in this game today. That is one of those games as a hockey fan you just have to appreciate as a good hockey game. You just have to appreciate watching two teams go absolutely bonkers on each other and just go at it, trying to take the other team down. But before we talk about anything else in the game, can we talk about this Frederick kid? Who is Frederick? Like, what? Who is that? No, seriously, who is he? Before today, I had no idea who he was. Trent Frederick, number 11 for the Boston Bruins, center, 6'2", 203 pounds, 23 years old. This kid's only 23 years old? Well, I guess that kind of explains his behavior, but like seriously, you are 23 years old and you're gonna go after Alexander Ovechkin like that? And he was relentless. It was all game, just constantly going after Ovechkin, and not in like the standard like, oh, we're kind of battling with each other, it's a back and forth, we're just giving it to each other a little bit, just kind of throw you off your game. No, it was like aggressive, overly aggressive, I think, for this guy's status over Ovechkin's status. He tries to fight Ovechkin, he drops his mitt, which isn't that a penalty if you drop your mitts and the other person doesn't, you don't end up fighting? Like, don't you get an unsportsmanlike conduct for that? I thought it was a penalty, but I guess not. He drops his mitt and like horse collars Ovechkin like, let's go. And Ovechkin just stares at him like, who are you? No, I'm not gonna fight you. I don't even know who you are. Turn around. What's your name? Oh, Frederick. Never heard of you before. Bye-bye, kid. How about you pick up your gloves and skate on home? Let your mommy make you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. 6'2", 203-pound, 23-year-old is trying to fight 6'3", 238-pound Alexander Ovechkin. He has 35 pounds on the kid and he wanted to fight him. Does anybody remember what Ovechkin did to Svechnikov in the playoffs 2 seasons ago? I mean, I think Frederick needs to take a step back and reevaluate what he is trying to do here. But then on the other hand, a really good way to become a well-known household name is to get into a big fight with Alexander Ovechkin. Everybody's gonna know your name after that, so maybe that was his plan. Maybe he's like, hey, look, I'm not getting anywhere in my career. Let's do something big. Let's fight the top goaler, the most prolific goal scorer of my generation and his own generation, and then everybody's gonna know me. And then Ovechkin goes a little unclassy on him and just gives him a little cup check. Okay, it wasn't a little cup check, it was a heavy cup check. He puts Frederick down on the ground, and at first, I didn't like that move. I'm thinking to myself, when it goes to commercial break, I don't like seeing Ovechkin lose his cool like that. He's obviously significantly older than Frederick. He's bigger than Frederick. He doesn't want anything to do with Frederick. He just needs to hold his cool and be the captain. But then I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking to myself, Frederick was not a factor after Ovechkin puts him down there. I think it might have been the right move because it shows that young kid, you need to be knocked down on the ladder a couple notches. He was up at 11 and Ovechkin's cup check brought him down to a 3 where he needs to be. So looking back, I think it was it wasn't a classy move, but it was a good move. They end up taking matching minors. Frederick gets 2 for cross-checking and Ovechkin gets 2 for crotch-checking. I can't take claim to that joke, but I thought it was funny, so I had to throw it in here somewhere. I guess we should actually talk about the game a little bit, but like, we've already talked about the most exciting part of the game, so what else is there to talk about? There's not really any goals to talk about. They went 2 whole periods with no goals. Not saying there wasn't any good chances, but nothing ended up going in until early on in the 3rd period when Boston converts on a good 2-on-1. Carlson turns over the puck just inside the offensive blue line, which we all know is a very dangerous place to turn over the puck, and of course, it had to be Brad Marchand who beat him to the puck. Brad Marchand and David Pastrnak have a 2-on-1 the other way. It's a very, very nice pass across ice from Marchand to Pastrnak. It's David Pastrnak. He tied Ovechkin for the scoring title last year. He's a really good goal scorer. He's gonna put that one away about 9 out of 10 times. He puts it away. Boston Bruins go up 1-0. But surprisingly, I didn't get really concerned at that point. This was a really back and forth game. This game seesawed a lot of times. The Caps really took it to the Bruins in the first 8 to 10 minutes of the game, and thanks to Tuukka Rask, it was still a 0-0 game at that point. Shots on goal are 7-0 in favor of the Caps about 8 to 10 minutes into the game. But then the Bruins took over momentum, and even though they only ended up getting 2 shots on net in the first period, the entire first period, the Caps didn't have another shot on net from 8 minutes into the first period till like halfway into the second period. That's like 20 minutes of gameplay, no shots. Actually, I just checked my notes. It was 12 minutes into the second period before the Caps finally got a shot on net. That means it was over 20 minutes of gameplay between the Caps' last shot in the first period and first shot in the second period. That's not good. Now, granted, in that span of time, the Bruins only got a handful of shots on net, and they weren't all fantastic scoring chances, and the ones that were decent scoring chances, Vitek Vanacek is there to save the day, just like Rask was at the beginning of the game. So it's a back and forth, it's a seesaw game, it's a goalie battle of a game, and it comes down to the third period and ultimately overtime in the shootout to decide it. And the only reason this goes to overtime is because Eller is able to score just 5 minutes after Pasta puts the Bruins up by 1. And it is all thanks to my man, TJ Oshie. Oshie is the one who creates the turnover. He rips over the puck just inside the offensive blue line. He looks cross ice and he sees Nick Jensen. Great pass over to Jensen, and Jensen just takes a slapper on net, and there is a big rebound. It's ping-ponging off everyone. And I guess at some point, it hit off of Panik somewhere because he's on the score sheet with a primary assist. And after the puck's been bouncing around for a second, Eller is the one who is able to get his stick on it. He smacks it into the net and he ties up the game at 1. Game goes to overtime, and this was a very good overtime for the Caps. It didn't start out very good. The beginning couple, like maybe half of a shift, was not very good. But after that, there's a solid 3 or 4 shifts that were great for the Caps. Great chances on net, and Rask is just able to come up huge in the overtime. He stood on his head to keep that game tied after overtime and take it to the shootout. And then Vitek Vanacek comes up huge in the shootout. He stops all 3 of his shooters. All his shooters were DeBrusk, Pasta, and Marchand. Those are 3 guys that are hard to stop. Jacob Vrana is the lone goal scorer for the Caps in the shootout, one of only 2 because they only needed 2. Vanacek stopped all 3 of his, and they are able to pull out the 2-1 win and walk away with 2 points in this one. And the big story on the stat sheet for this one, for me, is the hits. This was a very physical game, and we know that the Caps play well when they play that physical game, but this wasn't the same type of physical game that we've seen them play in the past week or two. This was very much a we don't like you physical kind of play. These 2 teams do not like each other. They see each other a lot, and particularly this season when they are now in the same division, and the division sees each other 8 times all season. And because it was such a physical game, I got really curious during the second intermission, so I head to the game sheet to see what the hits looked like at that point in time. At second intermission, with still a whole period to play, hits were already 25 to 21 in favor of the Caps. That is insane. That is an insane amount of hits to have with a whole period of play left. To paint you a picture of how insane that is, the last game against New Jersey ended 12 to 17 hits. That was the final after 3 whole periods of play. It is 25 to 21 after 40 minutes. What? This game ended 28 to 26 in hits. That's a lot of hitting against a team you're gonna see again Friday night. It's like a mini playoff series when you play 2 games against the same team. You get all this angst and you got all this animosity that gets built up in game 1, and that carries right on over to game 2. We're gonna see some fireworks Friday night. You mark my words. Shots on this game ended 28 to 19 in favor of the Caps. That's really great to see. The Bruins eked out a win in the faceoff department, about 52% to 48%, virtually even. It was actually much higher than that for the Caps going into the third period. I think the Caps were up 60-something% at the faceoff dot going into the third period, but it ends up virtually tied, which is still great to see for the Caps after how they had been playing in the faceoff dot at the beginning of the season. And neither team was able to convert on either of their power plays. It's actually really good to see the refs put their whistles away in this one. I'm really glad that this big hitting, big physical game was not decided with special teams. The Caps had a lot of great chances on net in this game, but really that only happened in the first half of the first period and in overtime. Outside of that, the Caps never really got fantastic chances on Rask, and the only goal that they were able to get was a dirty, grind it out, smack it in goal. That is not going to fly with me next game. The Caps have to get out of their own way Friday night if they want to win. They need to simplify. They need to tone down the passing. The passing up ice is good, but once you're in the zone and you've established pressure, take one or two of those passes away, get the shot on net faster, and get a goal like Eller got tonight. Get a goal that is just grinded out, smack away at a bouncing puck and smack it in. Anything that puts Rask on the ground at this point is a great play, because we know when Rask is up, we just saw it tonight, he is fantastic at making the save. Actually, even when he's down, he's really good at scrambling to make the save. Ovechkin has a wide open net to shoot at, and Rask is already down on the ground. Ovechkin shoots, and for some reason, Rask is able to come across and make his best Jimmy Craig impression that I've ever seen and make the save on a wide open 6x4 net. I have to give credit to Carlton for the Jimmy Craig reference. But those are going to be the best opportunities for the Caps on Friday night. If the Caps can move Rask left to right a little bit more, move him around in the crease more, and put him down, simplify the passing, take away one or two of those passes, more shots from the point on net, grind out the goals like we saw from Eller tonight. If they can do all of that on Friday night, the Caps could end up winning it 5-0. But what do I know? I'm just a fan. Hey, if you like this video, smash that thumbs up button for me. It goes a long way towards helping the channel. And if you enjoyed your time here, consider subscribing to the channel. I'd love to see you come back. And as always, let's go Caps!